alone, but not lonely. We have been conditioned to believe that solitude is something to be feared, that to walk alone is to be incomplete. Yet, the greatest minds of history knew otherwise. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, none of them sought completion in another, but rather in themselves. We do not fear being alone. We embrace it, because solitude is the path to power. This is why being single is not just better, it is necessary. 1. There is a chance to meet many people. When you walk alone, you walk without chains. Society teaches us to fear solitude, to seek comfort in another, to find validation through companionship. But those who truly understand the nature of strength know this: the more you depend on others, the more you weaken yourself. Being single is not a curse. It is an opportunity, a chance to step beyond the narrow walls of a single relationship and into the vastness of human experience. Epictetus once said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." But how can you do this if you are bound to one person, one circle, one limited reality? When you are single, your world expands. You are free to engage with anyone, without obligation, without guilt, without compromise. You can observe, study, and connect with different minds. Each interaction becomes a lesson, a mirror reflecting your own strengths and weaknesses. The wise do not settle for a single influence. They seek many. They learn from philosophers, warriors, and the wise. They surround themselves with those who sharpen them, not those who dull their edge. In solitude, you develop the ability to stand firm, without clinging to another for stability. And when you do choose to allow someone into your life, it is because they add value, not because you fear being alone. The world is filled with teachers, lessons, and experiences, but only those who are free can truly embrace them. This is not loneliness, this is power. 2. Use your time the way you want. Time, our most fleeting possession. It is stolen by those who do not value it, wasted by those who do not understand it, and surrendered by those too weak to protect it. When you are single, your time belongs to you. Every second, every hour, every moment is yours to command. You are not forced into obligations that drain your energy. You do not have to sacrifice your ambitions for another's desires. You do not waste precious days negotiating trivial conflicts or tending to another's insecurities. Seneca warned us, people are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. The masses guard their money, but give away their time freely, to toxic relationships, to meaningless arguments, to empty distractions. But the Stoic knows time is the true currency of life. And when you are single, you have complete control over how you spend it. You can wake at dawn, train your body, sharpen your mind, pursue your purpose, all without compromise. You move with discipline, guided only by what is essential, by what strengthens you. There are no interruptions, no unnecessary detours, only progress. While others are trapped in the endless cycle of emotional turmoil, you are refining yourself. While they are pleading for attention, you are building an empire, whether of the mind, of skill, or of wealth. The weak allow time to slip through their fingers. The strong seize it, shape it, and wield it as a weapon. You do not owe your time to anyone. You owe it to your own mastery. 3. Save money. Money is not just a means of survival. It is a tool of power, freedom, and control. Yet, most surrender it without thought. enslaving themselves to a life of financial dependence. When you are single, your wealth is yours alone. There are no lavish dinners to impress a partner, no pointless gifts to validate someone else's affection, no compromises that drain your financial discipline. Every coin, every investment, every decision belongs solely to you. Seneca wrote, "Wealth is the slave of the wise, the master of the fool." The fool seeks external validation, spending recklessly to maintain appearances. They measure love in material gifts, unaware that true value lies in independence. The wise, however, understand that money is not to be wasted. It is to be wielded. A single man or woman has the power to build, to accumulate, to invest in themselves, rather than pour resources into maintaining another's expectations. While others spend blindly, trapped in a cycle of consumption, you can forge a life of financial mastery. Free from the burden of debt, free from the anxiety of needing another's approval. With no partner to drain your savings, you can focus on true wealth, investing in knowledge, in health, in experiences that sharpen your mind and strengthen your body. You're not bound by another's desires, but driven by your own. Money, like time, is wasted by those who lack discipline. But in solitude, there is clarity. You are free to build without interference, to accumulate without compromise, to wield your resources with precision. The world bends to those who have control over their wealth, and true power belongs to the one who owes nothing to anyone. 4. Cultivating healthier forms of love. Love is often misunderstood. The weak believe it is found in another, in the fragile bonds of attachment, in the desperate clinging to something external. But the Stoic knows better. Love, in its purest form, is not possession. It is not dependency. It is not an escape from solitude. It is mastery over oneself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Yet, how often do people surrender their peace in the name of love? How often do they exchange their tranquility for the turbulence of fleeting passion? When you are single, you have the power to cultivate love that strengthens rather than weakens. Love for wisdom, for discipline, for the virtues that forge an unbreakable soul. This is the love that endures, not the fragile, fleeting emotions that crumble under the weight of time. To rely on another for happiness is to build a home on sand. The moment they leave, you collapse. But the one who finds love in the mastery of their own mind, body, and purpose, they remain unshaken. Being single is not an absence of love. It is the refinement of it. You learn to love with clarity, without need, without illusion. You learn to appreciate without attachment, to care without losing yourself. And when the time comes to let go, you do so without suffering, because your foundation is within. The world chases romance as if it will complete them. But the Stoic knows completion is found in virtue, in strength, in the relentless pursuit of mastery. Love should elevate, not imprison. And true love, the kind that cannot be lost, is the love you cultivate within. 5. Relationships and marriage won't necessarily make us happier. The world whispers a lie into our ears from birth. Find love, and you will find happiness. They tell us that without a partner, we are incomplete, that true fulfillment lies in another's embrace. But this is an illusion, a chain disguised as comfort. Seneca reminds us, a wise man is content with himself. If happiness were found in relationships, then why do so many who have them still feel empty? Why do so many married men and women suffer in silence, bound by duty but devoid of joy? The answer is simple. Happiness is not something to be found outside of us. It is something forged from within. The Stoic does not chase illusions. They do not believe that another person will mend their wounds, fill their voids, or grant them lasting peace. Because true happiness does not come from attachment. It comes from self-mastery. A relationship will not fix you. It will not erase your insecurities, nor will it grant you purpose. If anything, it will expose the weaknesses you have ignored, magnify your fears, and demand sacrifices that may pull you further from yourself. When you are single, you stand in front of a mirror that does not lie. You are forced to face yourself, your flaws, your strengths, your potential. And in doing so, you cultivate a happiness that is unshakable, one that is not dependent on the presence of another. Many seek love because they fear solitude. But the strong do not fear being alone. They embrace it because they know that if happiness is to be found, it will not be in the arms of another. It will be in the depths of their own unbreakable mind. 6. Self-sufficiency. To depend on another is to place your fate in their hands. It is to surrender control over your own life, to allow your well-being to be dictated by forces outside of yourself. But the Stoic knows true power lies in self-sufficiency. Epictetus declared, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom isn't granted, it is taken. It is forged in discipline, in self-reliance, in the refusal to be at the mercy of another's whims. Yet, so many willingly place their happiness, security, and identity in the hands of a partner, as if they were fragile things to be given away. When you are single, you are the sole architect of your life. Your peace isn't threatened by another's moods. Your confidence is not dependent on their approval. Your purpose is not dictated by their needs. You stand alone, and in doing so, you stand unshaken. The weak seek completion in others. The strong know they are already whole. In solitude, you cultivate self-mastery. You learn to provide for yourself, emotionally, physically, financially. You sharpen your mind because no one else will think for you. You train your body because no one else will carry your burdens. You build your wealth because you answer to no one but yourself. There is no greater power than to need nothing from anyone, to be able to walk away from anything that doesn't serve your purpose, to stand unchained, unburdened, and unbreakable. The world fears solitude because it reveals who they truly are. But the Stoic embraces it, because to stand alone is not to be weak, it is to be free. 7. Freedom. This is the highest pursuit of the Stoic. Not the illusion of freedom that the masses believe in, but true unshackled sovereignty over oneself. Most people do not live freely. They trade their autonomy for comfort, their independence for attachment. They bind themselves to relationships, obligations, and expectations, mistaking these chains for security. But the wise know better. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." The more you rely on others, the less control you have over your own life. In relationships, decisions are no longer yours alone. Your time is not your own. Your goals must be weighed against another's desires. You must explain, justify, compromise. The world will call this love, but the Stoic sees it for what it is: limitation. When you are single, you answer to no one. You move when you wish, pursue what you will, and shape your destiny without interference. There is no need to ask permission, to seek validation, or to fear losing what cannot be lost. This is true freedom, the ability to live by your own principles, unhindered by the demands of another, to wake up and decide your course without debate, to chase discipline, wisdom, and mastery without resistance. Most will never know this kind of freedom, for they fear it. They fear the weight of their own choices. They fear the silence that solitude brings. But the Stoic welcomes it, because to be free is not to be alone. It is to be untouchable. Let others give their lives away in pursuit of fleeting affections. We will walk our own path, unburdened, unrestrained, free. 8. Go out with anyone you want. The moment you commit to one, you close the door to many. Most believe exclusivity is a virtue, that to belong to another is a sign of love. But the Stoic sees the world differently. To tie oneself to a single person is to limit one's experiences, to restrict one's path, to bind oneself willingly to a single fate. Epictetus reminds us, if you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. The world will judge the one who chooses freedom over attachment. They will say, you are avoiding commitment, that you are afraid of love. But what they fail to understand is this: you are not afraid. You are awake. When you are single, you move without restrictions. You are not confined to one person's moods, expectations, or desires. You can interact, explore, and experience without guilt or obligation. You are free to observe human nature without being entangled in its emotional chains. The weak cling to what is familiar, fearing the unknown. They mistake attachment for meaning, but the strong seek understanding. They engage with the world on their own terms. They are not swayed by passion, nor trapped by fear. They move with intention, never staying where they do not choose to be. To go out with anyone you want is not about indulgence. It is about choice. It is about power over your own life, about not being forced into a single path because of societal expectations. Most will never understand this kind of freedom. But for those who do, the world is limitless. No doors are closed. No chains exist. Only boundless possibility. 9. Prioritizing your physical health. A weak body houses a weak mind. To neglect the flesh is to invite weakness into the soul. Yet, how often do relationships make warriors soft? How often do they turn discipline into complacency, strength into comfort, and ambitions into stagnation? Marcus Aurelius, a warrior emperor, understood this well when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But how can one have power over the mind if the body is left to rot? How can one claim mastery if their physical form betrays them? When you are single, you have no distractions, no late nights spent indulging in gluttony for the sake of another's affection, no compromises that pull you away from the gym, the training ground, the battlefield of self-discipline. Your body is your weapon, and every day you remain single, you sharpen it, you move with precision, you train with intensity, and you live with the understanding that strength is not an option, it is a duty. The world is filled with those who have allowed their relationships to soften them. They grow comfortable, they grow slow, they grow weak. But the Stoic does not allow this. The Stoic knows that physical mastery is the foundation of all other virtues. To prioritize your health is to declare that you belong to no one but yourself. Your strength is not for show, nor is it for another's approval. It is for survival. It is for power. It is for the relentless pursuit of mastery. The body is the first battleground, and the one who remains single fights without distraction. 10. Explore new interests. The world belongs to those who seek it. Yet how many imprison themselves within the narrow walls of routine, never daring to venture beyond what is familiar? How many allow relationships to define their interests, to shape their passions, to dictate what is worth pursuing? But the Stoic knows, Curiosity is the path to mastery. Seneca once wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." Life is not meant to be stagnant. It is not meant to be lived within the confines of another's expectations. It is meant to be explored, tested, and experienced in its entirety. When you are single, you are free. Free to pick up a new skill without justification. Free to dive into philosophy, art, combat, or the mysteries of the world without permission. Free to travel, to wander, to shape yourself into something greater with each passing day. There is no one to ask, "Do you mind if I?" No one to convince, no one to hold you back. Only the open road ahead, waiting for the one who dares to walk it. The weak find comfort in the familiar. They cling to what they know, fearing the discomfort of growth. But the strong thrive in uncertainty. They seek new knowledge, new challenges, new ways to sharpen their minds and bodies. Being single is not an absence, it is an abundance of opportunities, of paths unexplored, of skills yet to be mastered. The world is a battlefield, a library, an endless expanse of untapped potential, and only those who walk alone can truly claim it for themselves. Do not pity the one who walks alone, pity the one who cannot. Society has taught you to fear solitude, to believe that without another, you are incomplete. But the truth is this: there is no greater strength than the one who stands alone and remains unshaken. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. Happiness is not found in another. It is not gifted, nor is it dependent on external conditions. It is built, forged through discipline, through self-mastery, through the relentless pursuit of purpose. The world will call you cold. Let them. The world will call you distant. Let them. The world will not understand the fire that burns within you. That is not your concern. You do not need validation. You do not need permission. You need only to walk your own path, unburdened, undistracted, untamed. This is the life of power. This is the life of control. Be alone, but never lonely. Seek mastery, not attachment. Build a mind that cannot be broken and a soul that does not waver. And in the end, while others are lost in the chaos, you will remain unshaken, unbreakable, and truly free.